All right, let's talk about accounting. But hang on, before you picture dusty books and endless spreadsheets, I want you to think about it in a totally different way. Think of it as a language. Yeah, the actual language that every business speaks. I mean, seriously, think about it. If a business could actually talk, what would it say? Right? Would it be bragging about a great quarter? Or maybe quietly worrying about how it's going to pay its bills? Maybe it would whisper its secret plans for next year. Well, here's the thing. Businesses do talk. They really do. And their voice? It's accounting. And look, this isn't just me trying to be clever with a metaphor. It's the real deal. The whole point of accounting, when you boil it all down, is communication. It's how a company gets its story out there to everyone. We're talking the CEO, the board, you, me, an investor halfway around the globe. It tells them all what's really happening with the money. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to decode this language. First up, what even is it? Then, how does it take a bunch of numbers and turn them into a real story? We'll get into the power of that story, how it builds trust, and, this is the cool part, how it gives us a blueprint for what's next. All right, let's get right into it. Section 1, the language of business. So when we say accounting is a language, what are we really talking about? Okay, so here's the textbook definition. Accounting is a process of systematically recording, summarizing, analyzing, and reporting financial transactions. But let's break that down. The key word here is systematically. This isn't just, throwing numbers on a page. It's a whole system with rules. It takes literally everything that happens with money. I mean, everything, from buying a coffee to buying another company, and it organizes it all, so it actually makes sense. Okay, so if it's a language, how do you speak it? What are the rules? Well, that's what this section is all about. This is the grammar, the part where we turn all that raw data into a story people can actually understand. It's really a three-step process. First, you record everything. Every single sale, every purchase, every expense, those are like your individual words. Next, you organize those words. You put them into categories. Things like assets, that's the stuff the company owns, and liabilities, which is the stuff it owes. Now you're building sentences. And finally, you summarize it all. You pull it together into clear financial statements. And boom, those are your paragraphs, your chapters, the full story. So what's the whole point of all this? What's the end goal? Simple. It's to create these crystal clear, super accurate reports. Financial statements that are basically like a complete physical for the company. They tell you exactly how healthy that business is, all written in the language of numbers. Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. Because once you know how to read this language, once you understand the story the business is telling, that's when you get the power of insight. That's when you can start making some seriously smart decisions. I mean, just think about the kind of massive decisions that are on the line. Are we going to build that new factory? Should we buy out our competitor? And hey, let's not forget the basics. Can we make payroll next Friday? Every single one of these questions, from the huge strategic moves to the day-to-day survival, gets answered using data from accounting. It's the bedrock of any smart decision. And that's why this is the #1 tool for analysis. See, accountants aren't just bean counters. They're more like financial detectives. They're digging through the data, looking for clues, analyzing trends. They're figuring out how profitable a company is, its liquidity, can it pay its bills on time, and just its overall financial muscle. They're the ones who turn a pile of numbers into actual, usable intelligence. But this language isn't just for an internal memo, right? It's not just the company talking to itself. A massive part of its job is to talk to the outside world. And when it does that, its main goal is to build one thing: trust. So how does it do that? Well, it's a whole system. You want investors to feel confident? You give them transparent financial reports. You want to make sure you're following the law? You stick to the rules, to standards like GAAP or IFRS. That way, everybody's speaking the same dialect. And how do you prove it's all true? You get audited. The whole thing is designed to create trust through accountability. All right, so we've seen how accounting tells us the story of what has happened. But here's where the real magic comes in. Its most powerful trick might be how it helps us write the story of what's going to happen. It's literally a blueprint for the future. Think about it. You look at the data from last year, and suddenly you can build a smart budget for next year. You can forecast your sales. You can spot where you're wasting money and tighten things up. You can even plan your taxes so there are no surprises. It's not about being stuck in the past. It's about using the past as a map to navigate the future. And when you're using this language, you have to know your audience. There are kind of two main dialects, if you will. You've got financial accounting, that's the version you speak to outsiders, think investors, banks, regulators. Then you have management accounting. That's the internal language, the data that managers and teams use every single day to make decisions. And you absolutely need both. So that's really the big picture. From the tiniest transaction, one little receipt, all the way up to a massive global strategy, accounting is the thread that ties it all together. It's the one language that tells the complete financial story. So there you have it. It's the language that powers decisions, the language that builds trust, and the language that helps map out the future. So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you know the language, what stories are you going to find?